Hello, I'm a white male. As innocuous as that statement seems to be, there are many now who believe that my admission should serve as admission to a life of slavery to pay reparations for other white people's ancestors. That's right, social justice warriors. I'm the shade of white that came to America long after the Emancipation Proclamation, not that it matters to you. I have the white privilege of being descended from men and women of the Scottish Highlands who were being oppressed centuries before the first shipment of slaves set off for the New World. So why don't you tell me more about how bad your ancestors had it, please? I can't say that, of course, because all white people look the same to you, isn't that right? All you care is that you start a fight in the name of minorities' plights and lack of rights that only you could possibly understand. My high-privileged, white-privileged IQ couldn't possibly grasp what you believe because I disagree, and to disagree is clearly evidence that I just can't see how things truly be. Do you see the irony? That you belong to a post-Matrix generation, and instead of waking up from the dream, you don't care if the dream isn't real. You've seen the truth, and still you willingly choose the blue pill. But instead of living your lives in peace with your eyes squeezed tightly closed, you've taken an extra dose and joined the machines against your own. And somehow you believe this makes you progressive. Because you want to break traditions of this and that, even though you seem to forget that breaking traditions is the only tradition that is passed down through every single generation. You think change is progress because it's the only thing you understand. You've grown up in a world where having the same cell phone for more than a year makes you look like the poor friend. You rent when you should buy, you lease when you should own, you go through relationships like a 13-year-old girl goes through tampons, and somehow you still manage to come to the conclusion that your opinion is a good one. How cute. Some white man that you hate on principle once said, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." A piece of advice that your parents probably tried to share with you, but you were too busy sending emojis to a guy or girl who you never had a chance with. You see, people hate assholes who think they know everything, and I'm certain that's been you since the first day you could form a sentence. If you had bothered to absorb an ounce of that wisdom, you'd understand that society is not your social experiment. Just because you had what you thought was a good idea when you were sitting in your Gender Studies 101 class doesn't mean that pushing that stupid shit on the rest of the world is going to save us. We're not your petri dish, waiting around for you to add your toxic chemicals to the mix to see what happens next. That's how societies end, stupid. You'd understand that if you hadn't virtue signaled straight to slavery in your history book every time you opened it up. All great empires rise on wisdom, then fall on the lack thereof. The wisdom of our racist, bigot forefathers who you seem to really hate got us here, much to your ignorant chagrin, but that's going to change soon thanks to you. It wasn't broke, so you made it your mission to break it in the name of diversity and progress. But I digress. The point that I'm here to make is that your narcissistic ways are leaving a wake of hate and ugliness. You think it's a mistake to be colorblind in a world where judging people by the color of their skin couldn't possibly begin to solve our ancestors' sins. You say it's about recognition, but the only thing you recognize is segregation. Everything to you is us and them. You don't want equality, you just want the tables to turn. You don't want freedom from oppression, you want the freedom to oppress your supposed oppressors. It's called revenge, asshole, and you're waiting to serve the dish as cold as you possibly can. Did you think we wouldn't recognize your plan? You're an infant with a college degree, but no matter how hard you struggle to see an outcome where we have come to agree to your childish pleas, you can believe me. That day will never come. Oh, you might succeed in your plan to uproot the system in place. You might even destroy the Constitution as a sign of restitution with your noble revolution. You might set fire to white houses and murder white people. You might burn white books and tear down white steeples. You might erase every ounce of whiteness from existence with your malinformed persistence until there's nothing left of us. But you can rest assured that we will rest assured in our shallow graves that your fate will be far worse than ours ever could have been. When was the last time you checked out the world around you, dummy? Africa, Asia, South America? Look at the societies they created for themselves and tell me that you would do any better without a little help from white mommy and daddy. Educate yourself. The favorite two-word phrase of regressive people who have no intention of ever educating themselves of any narrative that doesn't coincide with their oh-so-tiny worldview. The irony. So let me leave you with this piece of advice. Take the equality we're offering you while you still can. Police your own communities before you try to police the free speech of idiots on the internet. Prove to us that Black Lives Matter by protesting Black lives taking other Black lives. Turn your drug dealer friends who are destroying your communities into the police. Turn your murderer friends who are killing your neighbors into the police. Fight for prison reform instead of lesser sentences for those who do not value life on any level. And if you manage to get into college, stop trying to tell the rest of the world that you're oppressed. Stop claiming a victim status for the wrongs committed against your ancestors. And stop pointing the finger at whiteness or maleness or any other group that doesn't represent the hearts of individuals. This is your wake-up call, children. It's time to get out of bed and face the real world. But what do I know? I'm just a white male. Goodbye.